Welcome to our session on the top 10 to-dos and tips or tools for SEO. So my name is Jason McDonald. We're going to run through some of the best practices at a basic level of how to succeed at search engine optimization. Of course, layman's definition, how do you get your company, product, service to the top of Google or Bing? And I'm going to use this analogy of physical fitness to help you understand how it works. For those who are taking this either in video format or live, we are going to give away our toolbook if you haven't already signed up for our mailing list. That has hundreds of free tools to help you with search engine optimization, so you'll get a PDF copy of that. Also, if you do join our mailing list, we have workbooks that we produce, and when those are in sort of review mode, we give out review copies, so you can get, sometimes you can get those workbooks for free too if you're on our mailing list. Yay, plug for the mailing list. All right, so what's our agenda? We're going to talk about some basics, and then we're going to dive into these tips and to-dos and tools, and then we'll motivate you a little bit about never stop learning, and you will get on your desk, sort of like Norma Ray, and you will shout to your compatriots there at your workplace that you are so totally jazzed about this activity, and they'll all give you a really weird look, but you won't care because you'll be so excited. All right, so let's talk a little bit about SEO and physical fitness, right? So I love to use analogies as I teach classes. I like to explain things, what we already know, to look at something that we don't know quite so much about. So we're January, it's January 2016 right now as we're recording this, and I think like many people are a little too chubby, and it's time to kind of get off the couch and try to be a little bit more physically active, right? So what's kind of that process of getting physical fit or getting better, getting in better health, better physical fitness? So what are our attributes? We have to have the desire. We have to want to do this, right? We have to want to do this, right? That's our first most important aspect. Then we have to learn some of the rules or best practices, like, hey, Jason, don't go to McDonald's every lunch and get a quarter pounder with cheese and a large fries and a huge shake. This is not going to help you lose weight, right? Got to go for that kale salad. I don't know how you feel about kale. Kale is the new lettuce. So you're going to have some rules and best practices about activities, food, diet, work, how to do some things better. And then you got to do this. You have to actually, this is such a depressing part about losing weight, right? You have to systematically do this day by day, week by week, month by month. You're going to measure your successes and your failures. You're going to be motivated, but you're going to take some metrics along the way, and you're going to never stop learning in terms of exercises and things, how to play tennis better, etc. And you've got to have this positive attitude that you can do it and you're not going to give up. And SEO has many of the same attributes as that type of a process. So that's a good analogy as we start to think about it. Now, among the attributes that I think are so important to wrap your head around is the basics matter. They matter a lot, a lot. So my beloved SEO industry is sort of full of charlatans, smarty pants, technical people. They kind of intimidate you. They kind of make you feel stupid. There are a lot of them, not all of them, but many of them sort of have a bad attitude, and they sort of convey that to you, that you're just a mere mortal and you don't really understand, the force, and you can't really do it. Well, that might be true in terms of getting to the Olympics, right? But most of us don't want to get into the Olympics. We just want to be better than our competitors. So there's some options, right? You could go buy some really expensive machines. There are really expensive tools for SEO you can go purchase. You can hire somebody who's super overpriced and kind of arrogant to help you out. You could join a gym, some program. There are some programs out there that you can pay a monthly subscription fee, but not use them. You could take some insane supplement. Maybe it's a weird email from somebody on some link scheme. Or you could do something really crazy. You could start with some very basic principles and follow those principles. And guess what? My feeling is if you do some of the basics, you'll generally crush your competition. You don't have to do super crazy stuff. You got to do some basic stuff. So I'm a huge believer in the basics, and that's what I'm going to explain to you. Now here I have some good news for you, right? You are not training for the Olympics. Most of us are not trying to get to the top of car insurance, right? We're just trying to beat our competitors, and most of our competitors are not that great. They're not that smart. Let's be honest, they're not. So we don't have to run faster than that bear. We just have to run faster than our buddy. We just have to beat our competitors in our industry. And for most of us, that really isn't that difficult. So that's a really important piece of good news. So we're going to go through and kind of think about as basic training, and we always have a few stragglers show up here so you know who you are. So we're going to do some basic training, some basic skills, and I think the really good news is, in my experience as a consultant and expert and all that jazz, the basics have a tremendous return on investment. So you want to keep that analogy in mind as we go through, keep that physical fitness, keep that motivation as we get started. All right, so let's talk about tip 0, right? It's just to understand the basic layout of what we're trying to achieve. So let's pop over here to Google. And these links, you'll get all these links in the email that we're going to send out. I think tomorrow we'll send out an email. We'll have the links in the video and all that jazz. So let's just pop over here to Google. And just a couple sort of heads up. So over here on the top right, you'll see my beautiful picture, and I don't have enough hair. And if anyone would like to donate a hair transplant to me, that would be awesome. So I'm over here. If you see your picture, if you see login, you've got to get non-customized results. And one way you do that, I've turned off that on my account settings, or go up here, go to new incognito window, and that's going to turn off your customization, because Google does a lot of customization, and it will show you the same results over and over, and that might not be the way the world looks. Now I've turned that feature off. All right, so let's just take a really simple search. I like to use this search when I teach my classes. So let's just take, I can't even spell today, let's take motorcycle insurance and hit go. And let's just look at the layout of the Google screen. So we start to understand that layout, okay? So we have our search query. We're going to talk about keywords and some tools and some tips on how to deal with keywords. We've got our ads, top left, top right. The reality of ads is a lot of people just ignore them. I teach AdWords. We have a class on AdWords. You can do a lot with AdWords, but the reality is many people ignore them. And then we have our SEO organic results. So these organic results, top 3, think of the Olympics, gold, silver, bronze. Top 3 is 65–70% of click volume. That's where the top 3 are. And then you have top 10 on page 1. Saddest position on SEO is 11. You didn't make page 1. That's really sad. Nobody's going to look at you. Nobody clicks through to page 2. So you got to be on page 1. You got to know your keywords. You got to think about your layout. Now let's do a different search. Let's do one of my other favorite searches, pizza. Pizza. Now notice I did the search pizza, and this little box appears here. The technical term for this box is the snack pack, right? That is a very technical term. The snack pack refers to the Google local results, heavily influenced by reviews on Google. So Google reviews, formerly known as Google Plus reviews, right? So Google reviews, Google Plus reviews, they drive that search. So if you see that local snack pack, then you've got to think about, how am I going to influence the snack pack, the local game? That's going to vary. Now, let's say that you're Martha Stewart, right? And, you know, how to trust a turkey, that's important to you, right? You're trying to get people to look at your program. When you do something like that, you're going to see YouTube videos or images. So you want to start with the architecture of your searches and understand keywords, where the ads are, where the local. Think of what's out there that you want to get to the top of. Just like, hey, I'm going to go to the Olympics. What sport? Oh, you know, I'm going to be a pole vaulter. Okay, great. I want to be a synchronized swimmer. Okay, great. Different games, different types of things you want to influence. So starting point is just look at your search keywords and look at the opportunities that exist. All right, so the first to do, and you can see this from what we just did, you got to make a keyword list. You got to know your keywords in a very systematic way. And I bet you dollars to donuts, most of you don't have a keyword list. Most of you don't really know your keywords. You're not being very systematic. That's like going up to mom and saying, hey, mom, I want to go to the Olympics. Okay, great. What sport? I don't know. I can't help you. Hey, mom, I want to go to the Olympics. Okay, what sport? Pole vaulter? Okay, now I can help you. I can help you with what you need to do that. So we've got to know our keywords, and our first to do is we have to make a keyword list, which gets us to one of our first tools. All right, so let's pop over here to Google, and again, you'll have all these tools, so don't freak out. You'll be able to go back to them. If you get the tool book, you'll have hundreds of free tools. I've just talked to a client in Texas. It's going to be a beautiful spring weekend in the central part of the United States. So while all your friends are out enjoying the flowers and jogging and stuff, you can be inside at your computer working on your SEO this weekend with the toolbook. All right, let's go over to this first tool. It's called Uber Suggest. Now, what's cool about this tool is it is based on Bing. It uses the Bing API, and it pulls the suggestions that you see when you start typing. So let's type in industrial fans. Let's say that we're an industrial fan manufacturer, and we kind of want to know what are the ways that people search for industrial fans, because we've got to build our keyword list. So we go to ubersuggest.org, we put in one of our primary keywords, and then we go down to this list, industrial fans for rent. You go, hey, that's us. Yeah, we do for sale. We don't do for rent. Oh, look at that, industrial fan blowers. That's a great word, isn't it? Blower, fan, tomato, tomato, lawyer, attorney. You got to get those synonyms. Let me sort of zoom in for you guys. So you can see over here, it's like shopping for keywords. So you go to Uber Suggest, you put in your primary keywords, you hit plus, 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 you hit get, copy, paste, you're on your way to building a much more organized keyword list. Now that's driven by, in this case, it's driven by Bing. Similar search activity to Google. That means when you type in industrial fans, it's pulling all of these, and you can go here and you can put A, B, C. You can see how Jason has no life, that I figured that out. Or you can go to the beginning, further proof that I have no life, and you can go B, C, etc. And you can see additional search terms. That also works on Google. These are the Google suggests. Whatever you type in, Google's looking at what people type into Google. It's constantly snooping on you. So it's constantly paying attention. Hey, Google, I love you, by the way, if you're listening, to what's going on. So you can put in anything. Let's say you do Italian food. Put in Italian restaurant, okay? Restaurant near me, restaurant San Francisco, etc. Right? You can do that for anything. Why are women? That's what I thought. Why are men? We have to be gender neutral because we are in the Bay Area. That Google suggests is very important. Put in your keyword, industrial fans. Look at the suggest. The other big tip here is these guys at the bottom. Those are your related searches. So you're building that keyword. Those are two great tools. Now in the links, I have a video on YouTube on the Google Keyword Planner, which is the primary tool for this. It's a little cumbersome, it's a little crazy, so I recommend that you watch that video, and that's going to explain the Google Keyword Planner. 2 seconds about me. My name is Jason McDonald. I'm the director, head honcho of the JM Internet Group, and we love doing these trainings. I've got my information there on the screen. I'm, wonderful, yada, yada. I have this screen here. It says I'm super smart. So that's the point. You can check me out if you want online. All right, so let's talk a little bit about step 2. So we know our keywords, right? We've got to start keywords. Step 2, the to do, basic stuff, but the basic stuff will drive you to the top of Google. You have to put your content, your keywords, inside the correct HTML tags. Don't freak out. You've got to do this in a systematic way. It's not that difficult. Now, the tool here is kind of more of an informational research. It's the Google SEO Starter Guide. So I have a PDF link to that for you, a PDF. Now I'm going to go over to my desktop, and I'm going to open this document really quickly and show you this document. Let me drag that over here. You guys are seeing it. Yay. Okay, again, beautiful weekend. You can read this document. It also functions as a sleep aid. However, it is the only official guide that Google produces, and it's going to tell you some very important things, such as, hey, put your keywords inside of the title tag position. Now, if you're using WordPress, one of these types of software programs, you have a little homework. You got to figure out exactly how to tweak it to get it to create the correct code, but you're going to put those into your proper tag positions. And this document is going to basically explain what Google wants you to do. Now, here is an absolutely insane idea. If you want to get to the top of Google, do what they tell you to do. right? How crazy is that? So you can print this guide out, you can read this guide, you can give this guide to your team, you can roll the guide up, you can beat the guide, your team with the guide to get them to do what Google's telling you to do. And this is going to get you a long way towards success. Now, what we're talking about, do a search motorcycle insurance. We're going to look at our number one result, which is our progressive.com. Let's click over to our number one. So this is the best website in terms of SEO for that search term. Now let's look at this page. Let's right click, view page source. Don't freak out, never freak out. And let's just go Control F as in Frank and type in bracket title. This is one of the tags that Google is telling you got to put your keywords in. And you can see here title, close title, and they've put in the phrase motorcycle insurance into that position. Now, the concept through all these tags, just really quickly, Control F, type in the word motorcycle, and you can see in yellow, you can see where they've put them into their code. You don't want to freak out about this, but you can see here is an H2 tag with the word motorcycle insurance inside of it. And see how that says Ride with America's Number One? We can go down here. That's this here. So the concept is know the tags, put the keywords in the proper positions of the tag structure. You're going to get a lot of mileage out of that in terms of succeeding. Basic stuff. This is not rocket science stuff. Basic. Now we're going pretty fast. So don't freak out. You can go back. We're talking about very basic things to do to succeed. Let's talk about number 3. So you may have heard, you may have realized, you may know already that Google pays a lot of attention as to who links to whom on the internet. Who links to whom on the internet. So the more links you have, the more websites that link to you that say you're cool, you're important, you're relevant for a particular set of keywords, Google looks at those kind of like votes. The more votes you have, the better you do. Now, in our in-depth class, we go into a lot more detail. There's a lot more nuance. There's more to it than that. But the basic idea